It's Tommy from Docket Drafter here, and today I'm going to show you guys how to do a perfect attorney signature block in Microsoft Word every single time. I'm going to go over two main ways to do it. The first one is a little simpler, but has a lot of issues. The second one is a little more advanced, but it's going to save you a ton of time. If you're doing a lot of pleadings, if you're filing a lot of answers, this video is for you. So if we take a look at my screen here, I'm in Microsoft Word. I whipped up a little answer. It's obviously completely fake. This is not legal advice. But we've got our allegation responses up here. We've got our affirmative defenses down here. And then we've got our prayer for relief here, which is completely fake. And then at the bottom of the document, we've got the attorney signature block. And the attorney signature block, this is very standard. I know you've seen probably hundreds of thousands of these by now. But if we look on the left-hand side, we're going to get a date. And then under the date, we are going to put the address of the opposing counsel. So since this is an answer, that would be the plaintiff firm. And then on the right-hand side, we've got the signature itself. And I've done an electronic signature with my name here. And then under my signature, I've got my full name, the name of my law firm, Example Law, PLLC. And then we've got some other information like the address. And then one thing I want us to note is that the date is on the exact same line as the signature. And how do we do this in Microsoft Word? Let's open up a new Word doc, and I'm going to go through the two main ways. So the first way you could do this is what I call good old tabs and spaces. So what that would look like is we are going to just type in what we saw on the left, and then we're going to add tabs and spaces until we reach the appropriate right-hand side, until we like where it is on the right-hand side. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to copy over this text here just so we're working with the same thing. And then we're going to tab over until it looks right. So let's do, I don't know, that was how many tabs? I think that was 4. And then we're going to add in the signature. So that's going to be underlined. So we want that underlined. We also want that bolded. And then I'm going to do, I believe it's /S. And then we're going to put in my name. And that's pretty straightforward. No issues there. But now on the next line, what we have to do is tab over. And also we got to make sure that we're not bolded and underlined because we don't want that to appear as bolded and underlined either. We are going to tab over. And luckily this one happened to be exactly on a tab stop. So then I can go and bold and underline this. And then I can put my name in here. Let's do that. And then we can create a new line here and do the exact same thing. And I think it was my address or something like that. And that was like 123 Main Street, New York, New York. And we've run into a bit of an issue because now this one is going on to the next line. So I think what that means is I actually want to move these back. And I'm going to move this back a tab, and then I have to go up here, move this guy back a tab, and then I have to move this guy back a tab. So it's a little bit tedious to actually build this from scratch. Let's do one more line here. I think I had attorneys for dependents, so we're going to add italics up here in the left, attorneys for defendants. And that's pretty much done. Now we're just going to finally add in the 2 blocks. So that's going to be 2 plaintiff's attorneys. Let's see what I had over here. So plaintiff law firm, I think I can just copy this over here. Let's copy and paste it. And we are done. So honestly, not that bad. But if you're doing a lot of these, this can get really tedious. And in particular, what's going to happen if the date changes? So right here we have December 3rd, 2025. What if this was June 3rd? Well, this was June 3rd. Now we've got an issue. Now the signature itself is actually shifted to the left, and I have to go ahead and manually add spaces or tabs. So maybe I add another tab. Luckily, that worked right on the dot. But this is a bit error prone. If you were just running through a bunch of these and you were modifying dates, you might not notice that this happened and that your signature block is off. And obviously, if you're submitting this to the court, you want to look as professional as possible. So that's way number 1. It's called good old tabs and spaces. Very straightforward, but there's a lot of issues, especially if you're doing volume. Now we're going to go over the second way, which is the proper way to do this, and this is with tables. So tables in Microsoft Word are going to fix this problem precisely. We're going to be able to set the columns of the table so that if we want to move everything over on the right, everything is going to be in line, and we're not going to have to worry about this formatting or any of that. So tables have rows and columns. To insert them, you can go up here. We're going to go insert table, and I'm going to recommend a 2x2 table. And don't worry about the borders. We're going to get rid of those later. Those are just helpful for us to see now. And notice here that we have these 4 cells. We have the left hand and the right hand. And on the left hand, that's where I'm going to put this date here. So we can go ahead and put dated June 3rd, 2025. And we want to make sure that we are left aligned in this table. So let's go ahead and make sure that we don't have a tab in the front. So that looks good. And then on the right-hand side, I'm going to put this guy in line. And then again, notice up here when I'm highlighting this stuff that we built in all these tabs. So I think it's going to be a little easier if I actually go one by one and just retype this. And then that was neither bold, no underline, Main Street, New York, New York. And then we'll even add a postal code. And then attorneys attorneys for defendants. And then over here in the cell on the bottom, we can actually put the address of the plaintiff's law firm. So that's how we get the table working. And if we want to change where this is actually situated on the page, what you can do here is just put your mouse over the middle of the table, and we can go left and right. And we actually, of course, are going to want to select both of these guys. So we're going to want to make sure those are in line. Although it doesn't really matter because we're not going to see anything on the right column. But notice here how this is always in line. And if we want to change anything, that'll work perfectly. And then also if we change the date here, so if we make this December again, and so this is a little longer, we don't have any issues with the formatting because there actually aren't any tabs or spaces in between the dates and the signature. This is the end of the line here. This is actually a completely separate line in the other cell of the table. Now, obviously, this doesn't look great because we have this border. So what we're going to want to do here is remove the border. And to do that, you're going to click on this icon in the top left. And then you are going to go into table. Actually, you're going to go right here to this button, and you're going to click on no border. You're going to click on no border, and you're going to notice that the border's gone. But we do have these little dotted lines. That's because I have what's called grid lines enabled. So that's just a view for us. That's going to make it easier while we're drafting the documents. It is not actually going to appear if we export this to PDF. So you can disable that by going into table layout, which by the way, you're only going to see if you have a table selected. So if we look up here at the top of the screen and we click on this button, you're going to notice these blue table options drop down. And then we're going to click on table layout and then click on view grid lines. And now this is completely gone. And this is also helpful. You know, this is just a full block. We can copy and paste this table. And this is more or less what you want to do. It's going to fix all the issues that we have here. We don't have to worry about the spacing. If we change the date, everything is going to be perfect. Hopefully this was helpful. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. We'll be back soon with another video.